Okay, so strap yourselves in for this one, folks, because today we're going deep on something pretty wild.
Yeah, this one's
Robots,
robots,
billionaires,
theirs, yeah.
and a global power struggle.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically like we're living in a sci-fi thriller or something.
It really is. I mean, you've got these seemingly completely separate things all kind of like smashing together at the same time.
Yeah.
We've got like the crazy leaps in technology, and then the politics are going bonkers, and everyone's worried about the economy. It's like someone's up there weaving it all together,
Or it's
right?
like a tapestry.
Yeah.
And the picture is getting
Intense.
intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so today we're diving into this YouTube video and an essay, and they lay out this pretty crazy scenario.
Okay.
Okay, so imagine Donald Trump
He's back.
back as the 47th president,
Wow.
and he teams out with Elon Musk
Okay.
to basically like reshape the world.
Wow, this is big.
It's big, and this isn't just about like Twitter and rockets anymore.
No, no.
It's about the future of work,
Yeah.
global power,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe even like what it means to be human in this world that feels like it's on fast forward.
You know what's really important to think about here is like the background of all this?
Yeah,
Doesn't it feel like everything's just speeding up?
totally.
Like we're strapped to a rocket ourselves?
It's like every day there's some new headline that makes you go,
What just happened?
wait, what? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, these sources that we're looking at today,
Yeah.
they really pinpoint like a specific source for all this anxiety.
Okay, what's that?
And it's China.
China. Oh,
China, specifically China's rise as this like manufacturing superpower.
I mean, it's not just their size, though, right? I mean, that is definitely a factor.
Well, yeah, their population's like 4 or 5 Americas all crammed in.
It's crazy. But it's not just about, like, throwing a ton of people at a problem.
No.
They're very strategic about it. Especially in tech, For example, they have these huge government initiatives to train engineers and scientists.
Yeah.
And, like, they're churning out this whole new generation of tech talent.
And we can't forget about the cultural aspect of all this.
No, definitely not.
China's playing the long game here, right? Like they're driven by this historical ambition to be the world's leading power again.
Yeah, it's like they've got this centuries-old blueprint.
Yeah.
And they're just following it step by step.
Yeah, and they're serious about it.
Oh, yeah, the Middle Kingdom mentality runs deep.
Middle Kingdom mentality.
Yeah, after what they went through with the century of humiliation, being pushed around by foreign powers and all that,
Right.
they are laser focused on becoming the top dog again.
And they've got Xi Jinping leading the charge.
Yeah, and they're making it crystal clear that they're not messing around.
Well, yeah, there's this one part in one of the sources that is kind of chilling.
Oh, really? What is it?
There's a Chinese professor, and he's asked about Western companies in China.
Okay.
And he just casually says, it's okay until we kick your asses out.
Whoa.
Talk about setting the stage.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got this incredibly ambitious China,
Yeah.
and the West is kind of scrambling, trying to figure out how to respond.
So what do these sources say? What's the answer?
Well, the argument is that the West can't win by playing by the old rules.
Okay.
We can't compete with China's low labor cost in traditional manufacturing.
So what's the solution?
Robots.
Robots. Okay.
AI-powered robots.
That's a pretty bold move.
It is, but the logic is that robots could work tirelessly 247 for even less than the cheapest Chinese labor.
Really? Like, how much are we talking about here?
Think sub $3 an hour wages.
Wow, that's less than.
It's like Elon Musk's vision on steroids, a fully automated workforce.
So that's where Trump comes into all of this, right?
Exactly.
The Trump part of this alliance.
The idea is that Trump, with his deregulatory approach,
Yeah.
could clear the path for all of Musk's companies.
Tesla, SpaceX.
Tesla, SpaceX, and even his new AI venture XAI.
Right.
They could just go full throttle
Wow.
on developing and deploying this robotic workforce.
So no red tape, just pure innovation.
Warp speed.
Warp speed. Okay, I like it.
Now, hold on. XAI.
Yeah.
Remind me, what is that one again?
Oh, that's Musk's latest baby in the AI world.
Right.
It's still early days.
Okay.
But it seems like the focus is on building what he calls truth-seeking AI.
Truth-seeking AI. Okay.
It's basically AI that can understand and reason about the world in a way that's closer to how we do it.
Okay.
It's a potential huge leap forward for artificial intelligence, and it's a key piece in this whole AI gambit we're talking about.
Okay, that's starting to make sense. But
yeah.
Here's the thing that kind of makes my head spin a little bit.
Okay, what's that?
When these robots are everywhere,
Yeah.
what happens to all the jobs? Are we talking about a future where human labor is basically obsolete?
That is the double-edged sword of this whole AI power solution, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to outmaneuver China.
Yeah.
But the cost could be this total upheaval of our own society.
Right. Are we prepared to live in a world where robots Do all the work.
What happens to our purpose, our identity as
Yeah,
workers and contributors?
that is some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this race against China, a
Yes.
potential robot revolution.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's like someone just flipped a switch and suddenly we're living in the future,
And we might not even be ready for it.
whether we're ready or not. Exactly.
Exactly.
And remember that whole freedom of speech thing we were talking about?
Oh, yeah. How does that fit into all of this?
That's another big piece of this puzzle.
Okay, I'm listening.
So we've got this like high-stakes global chess match going on, right?
Yeah.
China's ambition versus the West's potential AI gambit.
Right.
But let's shift gears for a second and
Okay.
talk about what this means for everyday people.
Right. For you and me.
Yeah, like it's easy to get lost in all the geopolitical drama,
It is.
but this isn't some abstract game.
No, it's not. It's about the world we're going to be living in, the
Right.
future our kids are going to inherit.
Yeah, this isn't just about who's making the widgets or who's controlling the trade route.
Exactly.
It's about our jobs, our livelihoods, our values as a society.
It's about how technology changes our lives, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
I mean, think about social media, smartphones.
Yeah.
We're already living in a world that's been transformed by technology.
For sure.
And this AI revolution could take things to a whole new level.
That's what's both exciting and terrifying about all this.
It is.
It's like we're on the cusp of something huge,
Yeah,
but we just don't know if it's going to be good or bad.
a utopia or a dystopia.
Right. And that uncertainty, that feeling of like being caught in the current,
Yeah,
that's what makes these conversations so important.
it really does.
Like we need to be thinking about the consequences, good and bad,
Yeah,
so we can make informed choices.
absolutely. We can't just blindly stumble into the future.
Right. We need to be actively shaping it,
Yeah.
making sure it aligns with our values.
That's where this tension between the West and China gets really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, they have such fundamentally different approaches to innovation,
Yeah.
to how they see the role of technology in society.
You know, I was thinking about this earlier.
Yeah,
Like, on the surface, China's model seems really efficient.
yeah.
They can just direct resources, control information, mobilize their workforce like a well-oiled machine.
It's like they can just wheel things into existence.
But does that come at a cost?
That is the big question, right? The source that we're looking at argues that this top-down approach might be impressive in the short term,
Yeah.
but it could actually stifle creativity in the long run.
Oh, interesting.
When you don't have that freedom to experiment, to challenge the status quo, to even fail sometimes,
Right.
you end up limiting the potential for truly groundbreaking innovation.
And that's where the West, for all its messiness and chaos, might have an edge.
It's almost counterintuitive, isn't it?
Total.
This idea that a system that's less controlled, more open to dissent,
Right.
might actually be better at producing truly disruptive ideas.
I mean, look at Silicon Valley.
Exactly.
It's a hot mess in a lot of ways.
It is.
But it's also a breeding ground for innovation.
Absolutely. And that goes back to that whole freedom of speech thing we were talking about.
Right.
It's messy. It can be frustrating.
Yeah.
But it creates the conditions for those hall moments.
The breakthrough.
The unexpected breakthroughs that you just don't get in a tightly controlled environment.
So what you're saying is this messy, chaotic freedom thing might actually be our key to navigating this crazy AI-powered future.
I think so, because if AI is going to be this transformative force,
Yeah.
we need to make sure it's being developed in a way that aligns with our values,
Right.
with our vision for the future, and that requires a culture of open inquiry.
Challenging assumptions.
Yeah, challenging assumptions, not being afraid to ask tough questions.
And maybe even being willing to say, hey, this isn't working, let's try something else.
Exactly. Being willing to course correct, to learn from our mistakes.
Right.
That's a lot harder to do in a system that's all about control and obedience.
So how does this all tie back into this whole Trump-Musk thing?
That's a good question.
They both seem to embody this, like, disruption energy.
They do.
But can they really pull this off? Can they create a future where AI works for us, not against us?
Honestly, it's hard to say. This source isn't trying to paint a rosy picture or offer easy solutions.
Okay.
It's more like it's laying out the pieces of a very complex puzzle
Yeah.
and asking, okay, how are we going to put this together?
And the answer is not clear-cut.
Not at all. It's going to require some serious thought, some tough choices,
Yeah.
some honest conversations about what kind of world we want to live in.
It's like we're all playing this game together,
Yeah,
but we're still figuring out the rules as we go along.
and the stakes are incredibly high.
Yeah.
We could end up with a future where technology empowers us,
Yeah.
helps us solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Right.
Look like.
You know, at the beginning of this deep dive, I felt like we were just strapped into a roller coaster heading into the unknown.
Yeah.
But now I feel like we're in the driver's seat.
I like
We have a map, even if it's messy and incomplete, to guide us.
And maybe that's the key takeaway.
Yeah.
It's not about predicting the future perfectly. It's about Understanding the possibilities, the choices we have, the power we have to shape the world we want to live in.
So for all you deep divers out there, here's something to think about. What does progress really mean in this new world, and what role are you going to play in shaping it? Keep those questions in mind, stay curious, and we'll see you on the next dive.